What's up, government seekers? How's everybody doing today? How are you guys doing in government secret land? Enjoying all your government secrets? Having a nice bowl of government secrets? Um, what is up, everybody? Thank you for watching on my YouTube. And oh shit, I did this wrong. I forgot to do Lee's YouTube. Way to go. All right, so we got to shut that one down. Fuck. God damn it. I'm so close. So close. All right. Cocksucker. Oh, it's all ready to go. And it's fresh shirt on. Got the episode numbers right. Last week we got them wrong. Oh, so great. Here we go. Now we're going live to Lee Camp's. There it is. We should be live on Lee Camp's YouTube and my YouTube and Rockfin, everybody. This lighting, I feel a little hollow. I feel a little, maybe it's because I had this stomach flu and I lost weight. So I just look like a ghost, look like a zombie person. Language, I'm sorry, bad language. Sorry. Uncle Graham said a bad word. Like, share, subscribe, everybody. Put this out on your social media. Let the citizens of Gotham know what you're watching. And of course, Rockfin, blockchain cryptocurrency platform. Do that. All right, let's do it. We have Holly Horn is our moderator in the chat. Holly, don't forget, if somebody comes in and just starts spamming, whatever, just block them. That's totally okay. I look good. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys are great. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow because the woman that cuts my hair is going out of the country for a while. I don't know. So it's maybe a week early, but we're going to it's starting to need a little dialing in. So we're going to get that done tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting day. Yeah, stomach flu was the worst. Ooh, horrible. All right, let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Government Secrets episode 117 with the two most censored comedians in the world, Lee Camp and Graham Elwood.
Hey, man.
Did
you just get chastised for language, you fucking grundle donkey? That's ridiculous.
I did. I think it was in jest, but yeah. I got to get my Superman curls a little off.
I do not understand how you can be going for a haircut right now. Like the amount you get your haircut, do you just like wait? Do you just finish and then you sit in a chair next to the guy and then you stand back up and get another one? Like,
I wait at least 36 hours. I go 36 hours between haircuts.
So you do leave the barbershop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I usually leave the barbershop and I get something to eat and then I come back and then we trim it up again.
And I get that I'm the weirdo. You're not alone. This is the norm in, I think, American male hairstyles is like haircuts every 12 to 18 minutes. I don't understand it.
I mean, it's usually about 2 to 3 weeks, but we could go 12 to 18 minutes.
Yeah, but you said she's leaving town, so you're cutting that to 1 week.
Yeah, that's insane. Because if she leaves, then I could go possibly 4 to 5 weeks without a haircut.
Holy shit! You're gonna look like Serpico.
I would like a weird wolf baby running around in the wild eating mushrooms or something like that.
Just a full welcome back, Cotter, Graham Elwood.
Jesus Elwood. That's what we would have. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Listen, I got to find a reason to get up in the morning. So.
Oh, that's why I do all this stuff. I have, it's so hard for me to even contemplate continuing functioning that I have to be like, oh, well, I need another haircut. Oh, and it's been cold and rainy in LA. I haven't surfed in probably 3 weeks. It's just been a hellscape nightmare. So
I love that half the nation is literally under like 14 feet of snow. They haven't had electricity in 36 hours. Graham says it's been cold and rainy and he hasn't gone surfing.
Yeah, it is
Real man of the people, Graham.
California's had floods. We've had trauma here. It's not.
You were probably surfing the floods, weren't you? You asshole.
Yeah, I totally was. Just like that guy in Apocalypse Now that's like water skiing on that PT boat up the canal while they're playing Satisfaction. That's what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just through a floodplain. I can't get no. Yeah. That's
the guy, you're going by the guy who's extracting someone from a helicopter from a car with a helicopter, you know, where they lower a man down to fucking grab a baby and you're just surfing by.
yeah, these waves are sick, bro. Like
that sounds right.
Yeah, that's what I do. And I just splash the search and rescue guys. I just do like a tail around and splash them. Ha ha. Like they love it. They think it's great.
And you yell, "Eat my wake." Yeah.
That's exactly. And then I say, "Get a haircut, hippie." And then I keep going.
And plus it's tough for your hairstylist who's on the back of the board currently cutting your hair while surfing.
She has to travel with me wherever I go, just in case my hair starts to grow 1/4 of a millimeter. So I need to always have her at the ready.
Yeah, at the ready. Yeah.
Yep, we summed it up. That's my day. That's pretty much a day for me. That's pretty much a solid day. Well, Lee, we're going into another episode completely blind as to what your segment is. So should we do it?
I'm sorry, man. These are rough times. It's amazing I showed up at all. So.
It really is. There was no email, no nothing from you. It was like right at 5 o'clock. And I'm like, maybe Lee's going to just not show.
It's amazing coming from the guy who generally we don't know what your topic's going to be until an hour before, because that's when you start Googling CIA and then you type in a letter. And so somehow I have procrastinated the king procrastinator.
I know when I'm the guy who's like, wow, Graham really has it dialed in way in advance. Then you are in trouble, sir. You are in dire straits. It wasn't like today. I just got back from swimming laps in the pool and went, oh shit, I better find a segment for the show today.
Well, you're going to like this one. It is the origins of the 1918 Spanish flu.
Yes. Yes.
Shall I get going? Is there a funny noise that's needed?
It's so clear that you like have a kid, because the way you talk to me is just like, okay, buddy, do you need to do your wacky noise before we read stories and go to bed? Like, just like, it's so funny the way you talk to me, as though
I like the funny noise. I'm a fan.
Oh God. Yes.
I could easily have phrased it as, am I going to start? Because I need my funny noise. So you know, it's out of love. It's out of love.
Sure. I know. It's great. Claude Boudreau did a super. Wow. I haven't. This must be from your channel, because I haven't been able to do this for 2 years, except super chat money. Thank you, Claude.
Thank you, Claude.
We appreciate everything that you do. And now, Government Secrets, episode 117, Lee Camp's secret haircut agenda.
It is funny because now we can get donations from the super chat on my YouTube channel, but that is my secondary YouTube channel that is still monetized. However, my main YouTube channel is completely banned globally. So it's a catch-22. I love it. The good with the bad.
You and I have 4 YouTube channels between the two of us, and one of them can collect money. 1 out of 4, which is great.
Yep. That's right.
Freedom of the press.
So I'm going to read a little bit from history.com, and then more from another more from a research paper that's actually at National Library of Medicine. So, but we'll start off with a quick summary from history.com. Just before breakfast on the morning of March 4th, 1918, Private Albert Gitchell of the U.S. Army reports to the hospital at Fort Riley, Kansas, complaining of the cold-like symptoms of sore throat, fever, and headache. And in fact, I am so smart, I'm going to correct history.com. It's only Fort Riley now. It used to be called something else, Fort Funston or Fort something. I'll find it. I'll find it in a minute. Camp Funston. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Used to be Camp Funston. So at the time, it was not Fort Riley. Now it's Fort Riley. Anyway.
Okay.
Soon after, over 100 of his fellow soldiers had reported similar symptoms, marking what are believed to be the first cases in the historic influenza pandemic of 1918, later known as the Spanish flu. The flu would eventually kill 675,000 Americans and an estimated 20 to 50 million people around the world, proving to be a far deadlier force than even the First World War. The initial outbreak of the disease was followed by similar outbreaks in army camps and prisons in various regions around the country. The disease soon traveled to Europe. In March 1918 alone, 84,000 American soldiers headed across the Atlantic so that we could deposit the flu over there. Once it arrived on a second continent, the flu showed no signs of abating. 31,000 cases reported in June in Great Britain. The disease was eventually, and this is classic U.S. empire. The disease was eventually dubbed the Spanish flu because people erroneously believed Spain was the epicenter of the pandemic. And I think I heard, I'm not reading this from the article, but I think I heard that it was because basically Spain did the research to actually find out what it was. So we then pointed at them and we're like, you found out what it was. So it's your flu. It's a Spanish flu. Fucking Spain.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the Chinese, the Wuhan flu, and we're not going to talk about the pathogens that escaped from Fort Detrick in late 2019. We're just going to breeze by that.
Right.
So
here's a little more detail, and actually it slightly moves the origin from Camp Funston to actually nearby. This is from, like I said, National Library of Medicine, 2004. The 1918-1919 pandemic killed more people than any other outbreak of disease in human history. The lowest estimate of the death toll is 21 million, but many believe it's 50 to 100 million dead. The world population was then only 28% of what it is today, and most deaths occurred in a 16-week period from mid-September to mid-December of 1918. God, could you imagine losing 50 million people around the world in 16 weeks?
16 weeks when the global population was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 billion people.
Right. Far, far smaller. It has never been clear, however, where the pandemic began. Since influenza is endemic and not an epidemic, now is an endemic disease, it is impossible to answer this question with absolute certainty. Nonetheless, in 7 years of work on a history of pandemic, this author conducted an extensive survey of contemporary medical and lay literature, searching for epidemiological evidence, the only evidence available. That review suggests that the most likely site of origin was near Camp Funston, Haskell County, Kansas, an isolated and sparsely populated county in the southwest corner of the state in January 1918. Some
guy in Kansas was like having sex with a chicken or something like that, and that's when we got the Spanish flu.
Well, listen, that's actually just called Chicken Day. That's every third
Chicken Day,
third Wednesday of every month. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's not chicken sex shame people. Let's not do that.
No, let's not. It's very anti-woke of you, Graham, to look down on the sexual preferences of chicken fuckers. Okay.
Because chickens are the whores of the animal kingdom. They all want it. I mean, all chickens want it. So
actually, you're wrong on that too. It's the cockatoo, because the cockatoo is into a cockatoo.
Cockatoos are skanks. Jesus, they're skanks. Just
Total
oh.
skanks. And that's male or female cockatoo.
Oh, male. The male cockatoo is the biggest skank on the planet right there. They're just like, what a man whore. Just disgusting. Just like a Magic Mike pimp walking around, just unyielding, just thunder from down under cockatoo.
Sentences I never thought I'd hear. Thunder from down under cockatoo. That sounds like you wake up with tattooed onto your ass after a bad bachelor party.
Yeah, and you're like, I have no idea what this means. And this is like we were laughing about it last night. I don't know why.
Somebody please tell me what this means.
What this means. And you're just like, all right.
So contemporary epidemiological studies and lay histories of the pandemic have identified the first known outbreak of influenza as occurring at Camp Funston, now Fort Riley in Kansas. But there's one place where a previously unknown and remarkable epidemic of influenza occurred: Haskell County, Kansas, where they fuck 2 to 3 chickens a day. No, I don't know.
This is Haskell, Kansas is the chicken fucking capital of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Always has been, always will be.
Graham, do you realize we're losing every Haskell, Kansas listener right now? We've just lost them. We've just lost them all. All.
That was the foundation of our listenership, was Haskell, Kansas. And now we're going to get a sternly worded letter from the Chicken Fucking Society of Haskell,
We're going to get a sternly worded, heavily misspelled letter from Haskell, Kansas.
If there's anybody listening legitimately in Haskell, Kansas right now, please send email, put it in the chat or something. I want to know that there's somewhere that place A, exists still, and B, there's people listening to this podcast in Haskell, Kansas.
Oh, something tells me it's unlikely you're going to see that comment right now.
I need this person to take a photo of you standing in front of the Welcome to Haskell, Kansas town, the sign, and like,
listen, I would like all 8,000 of our Haskell, Kansas fans to stand in front of the Haskell, Kansas sign.
I love in your world, the entire city of Haskell, Kansas has been supporting this show from the jump. I just love that town, for whatever reason, just jumped on this podcast early on.
They've been waiting for us to mention them for 2 years now. And I think you're overstating the population of Haskell, Kansas by about 7,000 people.
Yeah, maybe 7,900. I want to feel like Haskell, Kansas is like 100 people. But
so Haskell County, Kansas lay 300 miles to the west of Funston. There, the smell of manure meant civilization. People raised grains, poultry, cattle, and hogs. Sod houses were so common that even one of the county's few post office was located in a dugout sod home. I can't believe there were still sod houses in 1918, but I guess we were only a half step from monkeys in 1918.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's like 30 years removed from like the plains, people just living in log cabins.
Yeah, and they they still like cured a broken arm by stabbing the devil out of it. you get a sharp stick, and you stab the devil out.
That's how your history of prairie medicine is unmatched, Lee. It is really like a laser on how focused it is.
Do not question my understanding of prairie medicine.
Between my knowledge of Haskell, Kansas and the chicken fucking community and your knowledge of the medicine, we really...
Excuse me. It is called the chicken love community. Do not denigrate.
I apologize. I really, I apologize to everybody in that community in Haskell, Kansas. I really do. I'm sorry.
In 1918, the population was just 1,720. So maybe they're up to 8,000 now.
No.
But let's see. Science had penetrated the county in the form of what a great wording. And this is coming from a .gov site. Science had penetrated the county in the form of Dr. Loring Minor. Even though it's a he, even though his name is Loring, which sounds like Lauren, but enamored of ancient Greece. I don't really.
What?
We really don't need to have the terminology of a doctor penetrating anyone. I don't think right now.
The ancient Greek doctors fisting their knowledge through.
Well, listen, you hold on to the knowledge with a fist. This is right after you stab the devil out with a stick. You hold on to the knowledge with a fist.
And then you grease up the fist of knowledge. And then you in the knowledge.
The sound effect's important.
It's amazing on this show. We can take any subject and somehow just turn it into two comedians making dick jokes. It doesn't matter.
We literally took the subject of 50 million people dying and turned it into a fisting joke. which is why people tune in, really. It's
come for the knowledge, stay for the fisting jokes. That's really what this show is all about.
So, enamored of ancient Greece, he periodically reread the classic. Why are these? Okay, I highlighted.
Who is this nutbag?
Like, I don't know. In late January and early February 1918, Minor was suddenly faced with an epidemic of influenza. Minor, it's my name and my interest. That was on the front. That was on the front of his office.
This is the guy named Loren Minor. Come on,
Loring. His name's a verb, Graham. Get it straight. So, but it faced with the epidemic of an influenza, but an influenza unlike any he'd seen before. Soon, dozens of his patients, the strongest, the healthiest, most robust people in the county, were being probably the heaviest chicken fuckers, were being struck down as suddenly as if they had been shot. Then one patient progressed to pneumonia, then another, and they began to die. The local paper, Santa Fe, and the chicken mourned. The local paper, Santa Fe Monitor, apparently worried about hurting morale in wartime. I love, don't report that people are dying because it might hurt our morale as we fight a ridiculous, stupid World War I.
Yeah. That was literally called Wall Street War until they came up with propaganda to sell Americans on it.
Right. Initially said little about the deaths, the local newspaper, but on inside pages in February reported Mrs. Eva Van Alstine is sick with pneumonia. Her little son Roy is now able to get up again. Ralph Lindemann is still quite sick. So it's like a long list of people getting sick. Furthermore, how adorable is a small town paper that just lists when people get sick? That I like. But the epidemic.
Cedric has a back pain.
Graham, your stomach issue was in the LA Times last week, wasn't it?
Absolutely, front page.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yep. YouTube comedian has bad tummy was the headline.
Banned, horrible, traitorous.
Yeah. Russian puppet has. Putin gave YouTube puppet Russian stomach flu or something.
Grandma's name is Poutine. It's a verb.
That's right. It's that Canadian breakfast treat or whatever.
Well, that actually is poutine, isn't it?
Right? Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah. Are they spelled the same? Putin and poutine? Maybe.
No, I don't. I think there's an E in the Canadian one. Of course, they'd put a weird E in there. What are they doing? You know what I mean?
Fucking Canadians.
Oh,
this is called Let's Alienate every
audience we've got
of the world.
Hey, in the chat, let us know what town you're from and we'll shit on it. You guys ready for that today?
I feel like we're going to lose more listeners in Canada than in Haskell, Kansas. But
yeah. just on a percentage basis because there's just not enough people in Haskell, Kansas.
In the first 6 months of 1918, that journal, and the U.S. Public Health Service had an alert to officials of outbreaks of diseases throughout the world published the doctor's warning from Funston or whatever. And no, sorry, from Haskell County. And that was the only reference in the first 6 months of 1918 to influenza anywhere in the world. Historians and epidemiologists have previously ignored Haskell, most likely because his report was, well, his name's not Haskell. Anyway, most likely because the doctor's report was not published until April, and it referred to deaths on March 30th after influenza outbreaks elsewhere. In actuality, by then, the county was free of influenza. Haskell County is the first recorded instance anywhere in the world of an outbreak of influenza so unusual that the physician warned public health officials. It remains the first recorded instance, suggesting that the new virus was adapting violently to man. All Army personnel from the county reported to Funston for training. Friends and family visited them at Funston. Soldiers came home on leave, then returned to Funston. The Monitor reported in late February, most everybody over the county is having lag gripe or pneumonia.
What's lag ripe? What's that?
I have no idea. It's when your lag gets overripe.
Oh, right.
Too ripe. Yeah.
Yeah. Your lag starts getting brown. I get it.
Yep. But so as you can see, I mean, and I'd heard various things or read things about how the Spanish flu actually started in Fort Riley. This is saying that it started in a county nearby. Now, I'm sure there's an argument to be made, although it's probably tough to figure this shit out from 1918. There's probably an argument from some people that, oh, well, this is from a .gov website. They have a reason to say this didn't come from, it didn't originate in a military base. But I kind of don't even fucking care. It's like, the point is, it came from America. It was spread to other countries quickly by the U.S. Army and during a stupid war, and killed 50 million people, and we called it the Spanish flu. So to me, those are the key aspects.
It started here, and then we shipped it overseas for a dumb war that killed a bunch of people, and then we tried to shift the blame to Spain. It's like, just America. Perfect. And
this goes on to say, Funston fed a constant stream of men to other American locations and to Europe, men whose business was killing, but they would be far more proficient at it than they knew via the virus or via the flu. So for everybody out there who's heard so much about the 1918 Spanish flu, just remember that it actually originated in the United States.
Yes. And we spread it around our country very effectively, and then to Europe. So it was great.
Yep. And I'm sure there's also arguments that because it seemingly came from you. They talked about the manure smells wafting over the town. I've also heard reports that manure smells wafted over Fort Riley as well. So it almost definitely came from pigs and then was brought into humans. And this also has to do with fucking animal agriculture and how we have, rather close to zero regulation around it.
Well, I mean, in addition to the fact that it sounds like some of these soldiers were pig fuckers, is that
it does. One of the units was called pig fuckers. Yeah.
The 13th Pig Fucker Brigade. Is that what it was?
Let it be known that Russian agent Graham Elwood says that U.S. troops are pig fuckers. So.
Russian Kremlin puppet Graham Elwood. So it's but in all seriousness, this is not the first example of some virus coming out of either unregulated agriculture or invasive, us cutting down, going into the nature too much and getting humans interacting with species that shouldn't be interacting with species. I mean, there's so many examples of this, which is why, I mean, researchers were saying for 30 years, we're going to have another huge outbreak, which we did with COVID, and other ones have come from that from interactions with animals and agriculture and big agro. It's just we keep messing with Mother Nature, and she keeps going, I'm going to call your bluff.
And they've been warning for years that antibiotic resistant bacteria is going to come out of these factory farms.
Yeah.
And in small instances it has, but we haven't seen some major one that's just wiping people out at hospitals because antibiotics doesn't work anymore. But we're quickly headed there. And it's because we have, this might not have been true in 1918, but nowadays we have all these animals, cows, pigs, thousands of them on top of each other in tiny cages. And the only way to keep them alive is to pump them full of antibiotic, disgustingness. And so it's like a breeding ground for antibiotic resistant bugs.
But the upside is then the meat goes to a meat packing plant where underage kids are illegally working in the meat packing plant because they're not from this country. So there's there's at least a silver lining that we are exploiting and ruining everything.
I also just did a segment on that. Yeah. It was like 100 kids in the investigation, and, Tyson Foods, Cargill, all the worst of the worst. Cause you need tiny hands to clean the head splitter. Literally one of the machines is called the head splitter. It's not even, can we not get a fucking euphemism for this? Jesus Christ, the bone saw and the head splitter.
No, there shouldn't be, because there should be, you should know.
I know. I agree. Just fucking around.
No, but it's funny because it's like when people ask, you and I have both been vegetarians a long time. When people are like, why don't you guys eat meat? Like, here, the head splitter, the bone saw, the murder wagon, the fucking blood.
They go, you mean my favorite motorcycle gangs?
Yeah. It's just like, you ever been to a meat packing plant? No. Yeah, you probably will become a vegetarian once you do, but go for it.
My favorite example of that is, NPR, which never covers animal agriculture because they're part of the, liberal media bullshit. And Big Ag is so powerful that why do it? But they had one, I think it was on This American Life. They had a segment where they went in and were covering something going on in one of these factory farms. And literally, so they have a crew of 5 people. They got a boom mic operator and these other people. Half of them had to leave mid recording and go vomit outside at what they'd seen. And almost all of them became vegetarians afterwards. If you see it, it's over.
It's over. I didn't even need to, I did a sketch comedy pilot in the late 90s, actually with Maria Bamford. And we did this funny dating sketch, right? It was a single shot of her going, oh, that's so great. You work with kids. And she lists off all these wonderful qualities. She goes, but on your dating profile, I'm curious, how come you didn't listen? You didn't list the fact that you work in a slaughterhouse. And then they cut to me and I've got a white jacket on covered in blood. And then I say all this well, people get all, weird about it when you... And they gave me a liver and intestines to have in my pockets and shit like that.
Wait, the real ones?
Real ones, yes. They went to a butcher shop and got them, and because they thought it would be funny. And so I was sitting in that all day shooting, right? And I came home and I said, that's it, I'm done.
Oh, that was when you became a vegetarian?
That was it. And my roommate goes, I just got from the store. I just bought a bunch of stuff to barbecue. And because we would have guys over and barbecue. And I was like, that's it.
You became a vegetarian because you got roped into a sketch. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's when I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with meat. I'm done with murder. I'm out. Bye-bye. Thank you.
I did a thing. It was for Move to Amend way back. It involved Ben and Jerry and some others. Katrina Vanden Heuvel from The Nation and Laura Flanders. And I wrote it and had a side role in it. But part of it was we were trying to make the video viral. So we were doing all these viral things. And one of the things was there was a Japanese game show where kids had to strap meat to their head and then they'd let a Komodo dragon loose. And whichever kid wouldn't run away, stayed the longest would win. And of course, the kids are they run away because they got meat strapped to their head. And so that was the joke. And so we're trying to strap the meat onto Laura Flanders' head, and she's like refusing. Anyway, I just always remember that she's like, I'll do this, but can we use fake meat? And so I was like, all right. So we had like fake sausages or whatever.
Yeah, it's horrifying. So, all right, let's do our next segment. CIA Operation Roulette. Graham just looked up the letter P.
Wait, roulette got you the letter P? What happened?
Well, it's a roulette wheel with letters on it. It's a different. I guess I should call it bingo. I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea.
You typed in letter P, found roulette. All right.
I literally typed. No, I typed in. I just did CIA operation, and I typed in the letter P, which would be like roulette. It's like spinning a roulette wheel.
Oh! I thought it was called CIA Operation Roulette.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. There probably is one. I'm going to look that up for next week's episode.
I totally missed that. You were saying you were playing Operation Roulette. Okay, got it.
Yes. And I typed in CIA Operation P, and I saw Operation Popeye, and I went, yes, I'm in. So, Lee, did you know that we started experimenting in the 60s with cloud seeding and controlling the weather? This started Operation Sober Popeye.
60s.
Yes.
We barely had planes in the 60s.
Well, we had them to go bomb Vietnam, which is where we started this project.
True.
It was a cloud seeding project carried out by the United States Air Force during the Vietnam War. The highly classified program attempted to extend the monsoon season over specific areas of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. So Vietnam is one of those parts of the world where they have a season where it just rains insane and then stops, right? So the goal was, this was back in 1966, where we had just only been in the war a short amount of time. We'd already lost 8,000 American service members, and thought, well, rather than, gee, why are we in this ridiculous war? Hey, let's spend money and research on some nonsense. So the goal was to extend the monsoon season over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, to disrupt North Vietnamese military supplies by softening road surfaces and causing landslides. The former U.S. Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara, was aware that there might be objections raised by the international scientific community, but said in a memo to the president that such objections had not in the past been a basis for prevention of military activities considered to be in the interests of U.S. national security. So Bob McNamara.
I love that. That sentence is just a bunch of words that means he said to him, hey, the scientific community may hate this, but who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He just in very nice Ivy League language said, I don't give a fuck what the science nerds think. We're going to bomb the shit out of these guys with some rain clouds or whatever. And
well, and and we've covered this before. We started Vietnam. I mean, there were reasons, but we started Vietnam because of rain clouds. Like Gulf of Tonkin was us firing at rain clouds for 2 hours.
Yes. And going, oh, war.
So rain clouds played. We had a ongoing anger and rivalry with rain clouds.
Rain clouds have been attacking this country for a long time, Lee. We know this. They're currently probably Chinese or Russian rain clouds that are attacking California as we speak.
Wow. Thanks, Jose.
Thank you, Jose. I hope you guys are aware of how brutal the egg and dairy industries are. Yes, we are. They are horrible. But to go back to this Robert McNamara doublespeak, he said too, such objections had not in the past been a basis of prevention. So also what he's saying is, yeah, we've done this before and we don't care. Like the scientific community's tried to tell us not to do this in the past. And we're like, that's also what he says. And this is the same Robert McNamara, as somebody pointed out in the documentary Fog of War, which I highly recommend people watch, which shows all of the continuing sort of keep the war going blunders, and how our foundation for the war in Vietnam was wrong. Bob McNamara in Fog of War, which came out about 10 years ago, so he's talking today, talks about just how dumb America was. So he met like in the 90s with the guy who was his counterpart in North Vietnam. And they were talking and they started arguing, and McNamara goes, we're like two guys in our 60s or 70s. It almost came to blows. And Robert McNamara and the Vietnam guy was like, why were you guys doing this? He's like, you guys were going to sync up with China and we couldn't have communism. He's like, China? Have you guys even read a history book? We hate the Chinese. They treated us like crap. And, like it's just typical, just clueless white colonial Chinese, Vietnamese, whatever. No, everyone, they hated the Chinese. The Chinese treated them like trash. And the other thing too, that was in Fog of War, Ho Chi Minh came to this country in like the 50s, I think. And he read the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and he read our history. And because they were a French territory and the French were mistreating them, Ho Chi Minh thought, well, based on America's history, they're going to be on our side against the French because France is doing to us what England did to the Americans. So
right.
That was Ho Chi Minh.
He thought the Bill of Rights mattered.
He thought America stood for what it claimed to stand for. That was his
It's like the Made in America label on a piece of clothing that is sewn onto the clothing in America when it was made in Bangladesh.
Yes. So literally the war started under the America of just being dumb and greedy, not even thinking, not even understanding the region, not even understanding the differences of these countries, which is just same thing with like Iraq, Shia, Sunni, Kurd, whatever. Like no huge differences between those three. So that's how we started this. And then we decided to use crazy clouds. So the chemical weather modification program was conducted from Thailand over Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, and allegedly sponsored by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, our favorite.
The current peace dove.
Yes. And through the good guys at the CIA without the authorization of then Secretary of Defense Melvin Laird, who had categorically denied to Congress that a program for modification of the weather for use of as a tactical weapon even existed. So they flat out lied to Congress, and maybe this Melvin Laird didn't even know about it, so he didn't know he was lying, but maybe he did. And then a report titled Rainmaking in the CSIA outlines that they used lead iodide and silver iodide deployed by aircraft in a program that was developed in California at the Naval Air Weapons Station, China Lake. And it was tested in Okinawa, Guam, the Philippines, and Texas and Florida. In a hurricane study program called Project Storm Fury.
So were they creating storms in Texas and Florida?
They weren't creating them. I think what they were doing is they were shooting this stuff into a existing storm cloud with the hopes that it was going to make it worse. Is what it sounds like to me. So interesting. The technical aspects of the experiment were verified by Dr. Donald F. Horning, Special Assistant to the President of the United States for Science and Technology during October 1966. Project Popeye was tested in a strip of the Laos Panhandle east of the Belevins Plateau in the Sekong River Valley. The government of Laos was, lead guess, they were informed or were not informed?
Anytime the U.S. is doing anything and you ask about another country, the answer is generally not informed.
I don't know how you figured that out after 2 years of doing this show where they've never informed anyone anything of what they were doing. Like when we did the show in Sweden and talked about how the CIA was operating there and they didn't notify the Swedish government, and Swedish people in the audience were like, what? They were
Or how about when the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline without telling Germany?
Yeah, but
There's that. Man, Graham froze for me. I don't know if that means I froze for everyone else. But...
Yeah, you froze for everybody else, but now you're back.
All right.
I think everyone's back. So yes, Lee, you were correct. We did not notify the government of Laos that we were shooting crazy chemicals into their clouds. And the test was conducted by personnel from the Naval Ordnance Test Station located in China Lake, California. The results of this specific experiment are unknown, but other less surreptitious cloud seeding tests have been conducted. The 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron carried out the operation in Vietnam using the slogan, "Make mud, not war." Jesus.
We're going to try and kill as many as possible, but yeah, make mud, not war.
Oh, these guys are hilarious. This started on March 20th, 1967, and continued throughout every rainy season, March, November, in Southeast Asia until 1972. So they did this for 5 years straight. Operational cloud seeding missions were flown. The C-130 Hercules aircraft and two F-4C Phantom aircraft based at Udon Thani Royal Thai Air Force Base in Thailand flew 2 sorties per day. So this wasn't just like they tried it once or twice. They did this 2 sorties a day in the rainy season for 5 years. The aircraft were officially on weather reconnaissance missions, and the aircraft crews, as part of their normal duty, also generated weather report data. The crews, all from the 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, were rotated into the operation on a regular basis from Guam. Inside the squadron, the remaining operations were codenamed Motor Pool.
Cool.
So this first a reporter first came known, Jack Anderson, a reporter, published a story in March 1971 concerning Operation Popeye. Though in his column, it's called intermediately.
And soon after he revealed it, he was dropped into a cloud himself.
Suddenly his apartment had a tsunami inside of it and he drowned. It was weird how that happened. The Operation Popeye entered the public space because it was briefly mentioned in the Pentagon Papers in July of 1972 in an article in New York Times. So it was mentioned in the Pentagon Papers, but the operations in Laos ceased 2 days after the publication in the Times article in 1972. So again, had there been no press of this, no mention of it, they probably would have kept going to the end of the war, which all the way went to 75. The press stories led to demands from members of the Congress, led by Senator Claiborne Pell, for more information. U.S. House and Senate resolution in favor of banning environmental warfare were passed as Senate Resolution 71 on July 11th, 1973, and H.R. 116 of 74, H.R. 329 of 1974, and H.R. 26 of 1975. The current legal status, according to Wikipedia, weather modification procedures, when performed to achieve a military end, now fall under the providence of the Environmental Modification Convention.
And does that mean they no longer ever do this? And also, I'm curious as to how effective it was.
Yeah, this Environmental Modification Convention is a convention on the prohibition of military or any other hostile use of environmental modification techniques, and an international treaty prohibiting the military or other hostile use of environmental modification using it. So there is some sort of treaty thing in place, which I have a hard time believing.
Well, I do know that, I don't know how effective cloud seeding is, but I do know that what has been very effective is apparently they can fire air, like high pressure air, towards clouds and have a pretty significant impact in breaking them up so that the moisture doesn't fall in that area and will fall elsewhere. And so apparently, I read a couple years ago that it was it Volkswagen, or I can't remember the car company, but they have thousands of cars stored at this city in Mexico, out in it's basically fields, but it's where they store all these cars. So they have thousands of cars, and rainstorms or hailstorms could cause them millions of dollars in damage. So they've been basically breaking up the clouds in that area, which has, of course, fucked the farmers in that area. And so apparently breaking up clouds is fairly effective.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if they've kept this research going and they keep using it. I just have a hard time believing that they just let this go, especially if it was effective. If this was effective,
right,
I have a hard time believing that they just went, well, we're going to put that in the file cabinet and walk away.
I bet what they're doing is they're just putting some nice, grim, dark clouds over the enemy, so they just kind of get sad. Like they get like a real deep existential depression. I think that's probably what they're doing.
Yeah, the seasonal
affective disorder.
They're just planning that. Well, if they're doing it over Southern California, it's working on me because I'm just bummed out because it's cloudy and it's cold and I can't surf. So it's working.
And that's been the problem with the Russian army. They're just like, I don't know.
Because here's the thing, obviously. So like the western part of the United States prior to this winter was having these like crazy droughts, like biggest droughts it's had in forever. And I have a hard time believing that they then wouldn't try to use it just for the money because the droughts cost a lot of people money. So anyway.
Yeah. And by the way, Jose, thanks for the giant donation. And yes, we did read the whole comment. You said to watch Earthlings on YouTube, Dominion on YouTube, Land of Hope in Glory on YouTube, and Land of Ahimsa on YouTube. So I haven't seen any of those, but thank you.
I have not either, but thank you, Jose. We appreciate you supporting the show and giving us those recommendations. So that's Lee Camp. That's what happened when we lied to Laos and everybody and shot up the clouds during the Vietnam War.
And, in their defense, they were probably like, we're killing a lot of innocent people there. The clouds are not really that big a deal.
No,
that's of our crimes.
You also see this was like the last time like Congress actually did something. This is the last time like the media like had some leverage, and you can see we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
When the Pentagon Papers came out, that was when they really started, and this really took hold in the 80s of corporatizing the media to get rid of independent journalism so that they could just control the message. And, Kennedy was the last guy to really stand up to the CIA, and they've had CIA people. I mean, George Bush Sr. was head of the CIA. So
pretty secret on his CIA connections.
Yeah. Pretty
down low.
Yeah.
Really had to dig to find the connections between George H.W. Bush and the CIA.
Yeah, it's a tough line to draw, but you can do it if you dig deep.
Well, and nowadays, like I covered it. It wasn't this past midterm, but the one before that. A third of all Democrats running for like representatives and stuff around the country, a third were somehow connected to either FBI, CIA, or military, and they were all bragging about it. These were not secretive. It was like, ever since I was in the CIA, now I want to help people. It was like whatever the fuck they'd say. But it's like, dude, a third of Democrats are fucking CIA or military. It's like, it's so horrific.
Oh yeah, there were so many CIA Democrats that ran in 2018 and in 2020. They were just out and out. I mean, yeah, they were either like flat out ran for the CIA, or they were somebody like Pete Buttigieg, who was like a naval intelligence officer or somebody like that. That's who we get. Kamala Harris was a cop. Buttigieg was a naval intelligence. Like they just want to put more just intelligence assets in the White House is all they want.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for joining us. We're headed over to do an extra segment over at patreon.com/government secrets. You can join us over there. We do those almost every week, and you will, the moment you become a member at even a low level, you get 27, 28 extra segments we've done. Also, Graham has an incredible comedy special everyone should see.
Yes, Lee. It's called Manifest It. You can see it at All Things Comedy YouTube channel. If you just go to YouTube and type in Graham Elwood Manifest It, there's also a link to it at grahamelwood.com. You get my tour dates. I'm going to be in Hawaii the end of April. I'm in Maui, April 27th, Kona on the Big Island, April 28th, Honolulu, April 29th. I'm in Arizona, Phoenix, May 11th, and Tucson, May 12th. Those tour dates are all at grahamelwood.com. Sign up to the newsletter. You get a smoothie recipe. And you can get merch. So do that and then join us over at Patreon.
I'm a little offended that it's called Manifest It instead of like Person Affest It. Like, I feel like that was really, I don't need your toxic masculinity, Graham.
It really is all toxic masculinity. That's all I am. It's just one big ball. Yeah, it should have been Person Fest It. Damn it.
One big ball of vegetarian smoothie toxic masculinity.
That's one big yoga mat of just violent toxic masculinity.
Do you want to tease what our topic is for Patreon right now?
Oh, I'll tell you. So we usually do it This Week in Government Secrets, and I'll just tell you what, on this day, it's funny, a big financial thing happened on this day, and we just had a big financial thing happen 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So
things happen every other day now, but yeah.
Yes. So we're going to celebrate that anniversary is what we're going to do. And a couple other fun little tidbits that happened this week on Government Secrets.
Cool. And everybody can join me at leecamp.net.
This is Bad Government Secrets, episode 117. Lee's Sex with Chicken segment and Operation Popeye.
Can we phrase it different than Lee's Sex with Chickens? Can we come up with some other...
Hey, man, don't kill the messenger. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling what the story is, you know?
All right, man. See you over there.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Hemp Car. I recall reading about Operation Popeye in a New York Times article from the 70s several years ago. Kucinich has a bill on the weather. The director of the CIA said, we'll geoengineer the climate to curb disaster. Wow, NPR has mentioned it too. No way. Crazy. Thank you for supporting us at Rockfin. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button and subscribing and sharing. Please go check out my special Manifest It. And thank you, Holly Horn, our moderator, and everybody who did the super chats. We appreciate it. And we will see you. Go to patreon.com/government secrets. We'll be over there in about 2 minutes. Thanks, everybody.